All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the sci-fi short story Inner Realm. And let me tell you, this one's a trip. It's a story that starts out in a suburban garage with a couple of old professors and a homemade ship. And it ends with them having to make a terrifying choice at, get this, the source code of the universe itself. So the story drops us right in with these two retired professors, Don and Carl. They've just used their homemade machine to step into, well, somewhere else. And immediately, Carl, who's the physicist of the duo, just stops dead. He knows, instantly, that something is seriously wrong, because the laws of science that he's built his entire life on, yeah, they just don't work here. So they stepped through this wound in reality, and they find themselves in what looks like a jungle. But here's the thing, it's not like any jungle on Earth. For starters, there's no sun, so where's the light coming from? Well, everything. The trees, the leaves, even the moss under their feet, it's all pulsing with this soft, living light. It's this completely self-contained ecosystem that, by all rights, shouldn't even exist. And before they can even process all that, their first encounter happens. And you might expect some kind of alien monster, right? Nope, it's a man. He just appears. He's totally silent, super calm, and what's really weird is he looks like he was waiting for them. He's not hostile at all, just watching them. It's less of a welcome to our world and more like a doctor looking at a patient, trying to figure out what's wrong. Now, luckily for them, Carl actually knows some sign language. And as he watches this sensory gesture, he gets this sinking feeling. The man isn't saying hello. He's describing how they got here. He points up, makes this ripping motion with his hands, and then holds them apart. Carl gets it. He's talking about an incision, a wound. To this century, they haven't just arrived, they've torn a hole in his reality. And then things get even stranger. The sentry's gaze zeroes in on this ancient Toltec amulet that Don has in his pocket. He signs that this is the pulse. He seems to be saying it's the key to this whole mess. Then he beckons them to follow, leading them deeper into the jungle. And as they walk, the wild, glowing chaos of the forest starts to change. It becomes ordered, arranged in perfect geometric patterns. It's like nature itself was being rendered by a computer. Okay, so this is the moment everything shifts. They're no longer just in a weird jungle. They're on the verge of understanding they're inside a machine. They reach a courtyard and the sentry points to an obsidian pedestal. The message is clear. Put the amulet on it. But Carl, the cautious scientist, he immediately sees the problem. That amulet is their only way home. If they put it on that thing, they might be grounding their only power source, trapping themselves here for good. So, is this place a magical jungle, or is it something else entirely, like a biological computer? Well, Don takes the risk. He places the amulet on the pedestal, and the world just lights up. I mean, literally. Lines of light shoot out from the pedestal, racing through what suddenly look exactly like circuit boards etched into the floor. This isn't magic. The jungle is revealing its true nature. And that's when it all clicks for Carl. You can almost see the relief on his face. He gets it now. This place isn't run by spirits or mysticism. It runs on math. They're not in another dimension in the magical sense. They are inside a machine, a computer, so vast, so complex, it's almost impossible to comprehend. And once you have that key, everything makes a terrifying kind of sense. All that weird biology, it was just a metaphor for computer hardware. Those pulsing trees, they're not plants. They're heat sinks, pulling heat away from the core. That living moss on the ground, it's not life, it's a data storage medium, like a biological hard drive. The whole realm, the very air they're breathing, is just a gigantic cooling system for a processor the size of a continent. Think about that. They're not in a jungle. They're walking around inside a computer case. So, if they're inside a computer, how do they get to the next level? Well, you don't walk, you log in. The sentry invites them to move deeper into the system, but to do that, they have to upload. They have to let the system scan them and convert their physical bodies, their very consciousness, into a stream of data. And when their consciousness reforms, wow, they're in a place called the hub. And honestly, the best way to describe it is like a cosmic Grand Central Station. It's this massive, silent terminal. But instead of trains to different cities, there are portals to millions of different worlds, and you see thousands of completely alien species just quietly moving from one portal to another. It's the crossroads of the multiverse. But they don't exactly blend in. A system administrator immediately flags them down, and she explains, also using sign language, that they are an unscheduled upload. They're not registered users. In tech terms, they're running on legacy hardware. What's the legacy hardware? Them. Their organic bodies. And their 3,000-year-old amulet is basically an unauthorized ancient piece of tech. They're not seen as explorers, they're seen as a security flaw. But that amulet, turns out, it's more powerful than they thought. It's like an ancient developer's key. It has root access. So, using it, Dawn manages to register their garage back in Seattle as an official, valid terminal on the network. Just like that, they go from being a bug to a user. And that's when they realize something huge. The Toltecs, the people who made this amulet, they didn't just visit this place. This key gives them access to go all the way to the top, to the source code of reality itself. So now they have a new mission. Find out what happened to the Toltecs. And that leads them to the archive. Think of it as a library, but instead of books, it contains all the information in the entire multiverse. They're about to find out what happens when a whole civilization becomes a bug in the system. And what they find in that archive is just staggering. The Toltecs didn't disappear from Earth. No, they uploaded themselves, their entire civilization. They were trying to achieve digital immortality. But over the centuries, their code has rotted. It's become a massive memory leak, a glitch that's corrupting the whole system. So the system isn't treating them like a civilization anymore. It sees them as a virus. And there's a cleanup program that's been trying to delete them for ages. Well, all this digging around in the system files, it triggers an alarm. A system architect, basically one of the programmers of reality, named Elias contacts them with a pretty terrifying warning. He tells them that by accessing the Toltec's corrupted file, they've basically created a link back to their home terminal, Earth. And now the system sees our entire planet as being connected to the glitch. It thinks Earth is junk data that needs to be deleted. Elias tells them he can pause the system's cleanup protocol, but not for long. He gives them a backdoor into the Toltec's digital reality and an absolutely horrifying choice. They have 90 seconds. 90 seconds to convince the entire Toltec civilization to willingly log off, to let themselves be deleted, or the system will just delete Earth instead to contain the corruption. No pressure. And now we get to the choice and the cost. With 7 billion lives on the line and that clock ticking down, they are shoved into the Toltec's digital world. And it's breathtaking. A sprawling city made of pure light and information. The people here aren't just data. They are perfect, immortal beings living in a digital paradise. But when they explain the situation to the Toltec elder, she flat out refuses. I mean, from her perspective, why would she sacrifice her perfect, immortal civilization for 7 billion messy, mortal, organic creatures who don't even know they're about to be erased? She won't do it. So, with seconds left, the choice falls to Dawn. Erase this ancient, beautiful world, or let Earth be wiped from existence. And with the countdown hitting 0, Dawn makes his choice. He slams the amulet, that root access key, right into the core of their city. It's the ultimate force quit. The entire Toltec world just unravels. It dissolves into screaming lines of binary code, and its people, these immortal beings, just blink out of existence, pixel by pixel. The collapse is so violent, it throws them both back through the portal, and they land hard on the concrete floor of their garage. The mission's over. Earth is safe. The amulet is cracked and powerless on the ground. But as the dust settles, they realize something doesn't add up. Why are they back at all? The system was deleting everything connected to the glitch. They should have been deleted right along with the Toltecs. It wasn't a system process that returned them home. It was something else. As Dawn says, maybe there's a third party they haven't been accounting for. They weren't ejected by the program. They were pulled out of the collapse by some other force. Something that operates outside the machine's code. Something that isn't bound by its rules. And that's the final, absolutely chilling question the story leaves us chewing on. If our entire reality is just a vast, complex program, who's the user? After a journey that takes them right into the source code of the universe, the biggest mystery isn't about the rules of the system anymore. It's about whether there's someone or something on the other side of the screen, just watching.